Thank you very much. And again, everybody, Doreen is a Medicare specialist. She is a Medicare insurance broker, and she helps people find the right Medicare plan that fits. She educates clients on how Medicare works, helping debunk different myths and facts, and helping people to realize what is real and what is just a myth. She helps people create individualized and comprehensive plans by comparing all the different options out there. She definitely factors in your regular doctors, the medications you take, and any other health needs you have to help you find the best coverage possible. All right. She is New York born and bred. She's living here in Suffolk County. She does enjoy bike riding with her daughters and scrapbooking with her mom. She went through all of this with her own parents years ago, and she understands very intimately the needs of those that are over 65 years of age and all the resulting confusion and all the issues and all the tension and all the stress that happens when people are trying to figure out Medicare and long-term care and so forth. All right. So again, Doreen, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Brian. You could be doing a job, so you did a very good job explaining it.
Very good, thanks. So we'll start off with, really, please, what is Medicare and what does it cover? Does it cover everything? And just kind of an introductory type of point.
Sure. And briefly, everyone knows Medicare is for those people that are turning 65. There are also special circumstances that someone can enroll in Medicare if they have end-stage renal failure or if they've been on disability for over 2 years. And what Medicare does is they break the coverage into two parts. And, we joke about the alphabet soup. It's the A, B, D, E, F, Gs, and which becomes confusing for people. So, I like to tell people Part A covers certain things: hospitalization, skilled nursing facilities. Now, under Part A, not everything is covered. So if someone were hospitalized, there are some out-of-pocket expenses. There is an initial deductible of roughly $1,500, and there is a per-day charge. They include some blood work. For a skilled nursing facility, they give you the first 20 days free. So let's say if someone were to break a hip or break a bone and is in a hospital, exactly, you're laughing.
Yeah, that's hitting home a little bit right now, but yes, go ahead.
Because people think skilled nursing facility, nursing home, in your realm, I'm never going to go there, but people have had hip surgeries. And so skilled nursing facility comes along with that. And so the first 20 days are covered for nothing, but 21 to 100, there still is a cost. So that's a hospital. Then we have for your doctors, your MRIs, your blood work.
That's Part B. You faded out for a second. So that was all Part A. Now you're talking about Part B.
Part B, right. With B as in boys. So those are your doctor visits, any MRIs, any testing. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. I think my hand was covering something. And that's that 80-20 split that everyone hears about. Medicare picks up 80%. I'm getting the 20%. And so A and B, that's original Medicare. And there are out-of-pocket costs involved in that.
Right. Got it. Right. There always is. So where we come from, and we're coming at it from the elder law side, the elder care side.
Correct.
Medicare is a 100% necessity. It's a great program when we're talking to our families and our clients, but it doesn't cover everything. And we'll get into a little bit of that as we go. But the commercials a lot of people are seeing right now deal with supplement plans and advantage plans. So can you explain the difference or what each are? And which way you should go?
Sure. And I love the commercials because that's exactly what they are. They are commercials. I like to tell people, especially this time of year, it's the best, the most wonderful time of year. You're going to get free. Right. But, everyone's got to assess their situation. But going back to, A and B with original Medicare. So looking to cap those costs, you would get a supplement plan, which is a Medigap plan. Those are standardized plans market. You'll hear plan N as in Nancy, F as in Frank, or right now G as in girl. And what those plans do is the most comprehensive plan will cap all of the costs that Medicare doesn't cover, as long as Medicare is covering it.
Right.
So as long as it's covered, because that's confusing to a lot of people. They're
Sure.
like, hey, look, my dental's not covered. So in those types of plans, you're going to pay a monthly premium. And with that premium, you're pre-paying for your insurance. But people who are on that plan, they get the peace of mind, catastrophically, anything that were to happen,
Right.
and they can choose any doctor that they see,
Right.
that
And
accepts Medicare.
And that supplement will, because where we see it quite often is if somebody does have a qualifying stay at a hospital, which is generally 3 nights or more, they can then transfer to a rehabilitation facility. And as you shared, Medicare will pay the first 20 days. And then our clients and parents and so forth get hit with a daily copayment from day 21 through day 100. So what
Correct.
you're saying is one of those or a couple of those supplemental plans will actually pay that $185 a day, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
so
and I was going to tell you that copayment is $186 a day, and that's a lot. So that supplement plan will pick that up and give someone 100 days in one of those skilled nursing facilities.
Right, as a maximum. They don't always get that, right? We can agree on
Correct.
that. Yeah, they don't always get that. And what happens is if mom is in a rehabilitation center and we hit day 45, for example, and the conclusion is that Medicare will be ending at day 46, it's often at that point in time where the family has to make a decision. Do we keep privately paying? Do we appeal? Do we then take mom home? Are we looking at long-term care coverage in the nursing home? So there's a lot of family issues and discussions that need to be had depending on what the outlook is and the recovery is for mom or dad or your spouse at that point in time. So it's always a stressful time, and I always like to encourage clients that if you have the Medicare supplemental coverage in place beforehand. Yes, it costs a little bit, but you're saving on deductibles and copays throughout the year. And then if, God forbid, there is a rehab stay, you're going to be saving a tremendous amount of money, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So that's the supplement. It's a supplement to traditional Medicare A and B. Tell us
Yes.
about the Advantage plan.
So Advantage plans, they work very differently than the supplement plans. And the way I say it is what you're doing is you're taking parts A, part B, and part D as in dog, your prescription drugs, and you're putting them all together in a plan. And you're going to find out there are different insurance companies, private insurance companies with Humana, Aetna, Empire, and those are the Advantage plans. Now, there are rules involved. I mean, it's still Medicare, but you're not utilizing Medicare. They have to follow all the rules that Medicare states. They have to provide every service that someone on Medicare has, but the client, the beneficiary, the person that's enrolled in that plan will pay for the services that the plan designates. So you'll find, different plans will have different copays for different things, $10 for primary, a copay for the specialist. And what you'll find in these plans is what you're seeing is that, they're advertising the dental, the vision, and the hearing, which not saying it's the wrong plan for people, but those are the plans that they can also add in things that Medicare is not covering. You're just,
go ahead.
It's not that they're right or wrong. I mean, you're in a network. People are used to this type of insurance when they're working, right? They know that they have one company's name and, you could have a PPO or an HMO. I think that in the Medicare realm, a company that you've had before, if you've been on an Aetna or an Empire or whatever that company's name is, it's not the same when you're 65. And an HMO, we know you can only see the doctors in network versus a PPO, you can go out of network. But I think it's really important to understand that you can have a very large HMO with a bigger network of doctors than a small PPO, and you're always going out of network and paying more. So it's really important not to just pick something on a name.
Agreed. Definitely. You want as much coverage as possible, as much coverage as you can afford. Do you have a preference, or is it really based on each individual, Doreen, as to whether it should be Medicare or an Advantage?
Correct. There's no preference. There's no right plan. I mean, there are choices and options out there, because everyone's situation is different. And so in speaking with my clients, it's educating them and each one will understand and make that decision for themselves.
Right. Good. Good. So we were talking about the commercials earlier. So the dental, the vision, the hearing aids, is that real? Do these companies actually deliver on that, or are they just gimmicks to get people to call? What's all the commercials about?
Well, the commercials that are telling you to call the 800 numbers, I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, they're, obviously you deal with people, on Medicaid and zip codes and income levels to get the free. So
Right.
once you're calling, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
most of the people are not going to be eligible. But do the plans offer dental, vision, and hearing? Yes, some do, all
Okay.
differently.
Right.
Um,
Right.
your health is more important, I feel, than,
Hmm.
a dental benefit, but it's out there, but the commercials are misleading.
Understood. Understood. So a moment ago, you mentioned PPOs and HMOs.
Yes,
Still talking about the Advantage plans. So
correct.
what exactly is a PPO? What's an HMO, and is one better than the other?
Well, not necessarily, but
Okay.
an HMO is a health maintenance organization. So when
Mhm.
people are in an HMO, if they're with one company, they can only get services from someone in that same company. So if you went
Mhm.
to a different provider, you're not covered at all. A
Right.
PPO is a preferred organization where you can go in and out of network. So they're going to charge you a certain amount if a doctor accepts that insurance. And if you go out of network, you're still going to be covered, but at a
Mhm.
higher rate. And most of the plans are at 30%,
Okay.
you
Okay.
co-insurance.
Got it. Whereas if you stick with traditional Medicare, as they call it, the red, white, and blue card, and then pick up a supplement, you'll also, of course, have all that covered, and the supplement will cover the deductibles and the copays.
Yes. And with original Medicare, there's no network of doctors.
It's
It's any
Yeah,
doctor that accepts
that
Medicare.
accepts it. Got it. Got it. Okay. Let me take just a moment. So again, we don't deal with Medicare, which is why, of course, we work with professionals like Doreen. Where we come in and help families is with Medicaid, right? So if you've ever heard my webinars before, what we like to do is always like to share the big picture, and this is how I describe it. And Doreen, you can comment as I share it. The As we deal with different issues, they can be medical in nature, right? Like doctors and hospitals or rehab centers, like Doreen is sharing. And those are all medical. And those medical needs are going to be covered mostly by your Medicare, your supplement policy, or your Advantage plan because they're medical in nature. Where we come in and how we complement each other and work very well with Doreen is that some of the needs we face as we get older are not going to be medical in nature. They're going to be more chronic in nature, or what we call long-term care. So if, as we were saying earlier, somebody is in a rehabilitation facility and the goal is to get them home, they may still need help with what's called the activities of daily living: walking, bathing, toileting, dressing, grooming, or eating. Those ADLs, activities of daily living, are long-term care. They are functional needs. They're not medical needs. So if you need assistance with the ADLs in your own home, or even, God forbid, in a nursing home, Medicare is not paying for it because it's not medical. So the idea of long-term care is, how do you pay for it? That's the big issue with long-term care. And you could always use your private money. You could always use long-term care insurance if you have it. Or people often end up looking at Medicaid as the payer for long-term care expenses. Long-term care on the home care side can hit anywhere from a couple $100 a day upwards of $300-400 a day. You're looking at about $10,000 a month for home care out of pocket if you choose to pay for that privately. Not many families can do that. On the nursing home side, if that's required, you're looking at anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 a month. So Medicaid is there, it is available as long as you are eligible. And we're not getting into all of the eligibility today, but what eligibility entails is the applicant's assets, their income, and their care level. All right. And that's what we do here at Tully Law. We help families plan and protect their assets for future long-term care needs. And we also help them in a crisis situation. Medicaid is a real convoluted program. If you go to our website, tullyelderlaw.com, under our video tab, you'll see webinars. We've been doing webinars ever since the pandemic started about 18 months ago, 16 months ago. So you can certainly see all of the different webinars, whether irrevocable trusts and that type of planning, Medicaid applications, the Medicaid programs, the Medicaid changes. And again, all of that complements what Doreen does on the medical side with the Medicare. All right. If you have any questions about that, of course, you can ask me after the webinar. You put it in the chat box. And of course, if there's any questions for Doreen, you can do that as well. But a question I get, Doreen, when we're talking about Medicare and Medicaid with our clients is I'll say, well, there's a specialist that we work with, and they'll say, oh, I'll just call AARP myself, or I'll just do this myself. Why should a client? What are the benefits of somebody talking to you versus calling the company directly?
Sure. And that's a great question. I get that all the time. I mean, I'm a broker, right? So I represent, all the companies, including AARP. And I always tell them that for me, the relationship that I have with the companies, I have a broker person and, I'm going to help them. When they call up a company directly, one, they're never going to get the same person back on the line. And that company's never going to tell them about another company or something else that might benefit them.
Right. Of course. So you're going to be able to give them more options. Is that right?
Correct. I'm going to be there more options. And it's not just, for me, like people say, it's a sale. It's not a one-off sale. Like my clients, are my clients for life. When their needs changes, I mean, people just don't know there's so many things in the market with their pharmaceutical drugs, and there's Epic, and there's just things that I can help advise them with.
Right. Understood. How do you get hired? Are you engaged by the family? How do you get compensated for what you do?
So I get compensated from the insurance companies when somebody enrolls with me. Medicare is a very regulated market. They pay the same regardless if someone's in a supplement or an advantage plan. So I tell my clients, like, I don't care what you do. Like, not that I really don't care, but I'm unbiased.
It doesn't matter.
For me, it doesn't really matter.
Right. Understood. What is this open enrollment and why is it needed? Can you not just switch plans whenever you want during the year?
For a supplement, you can, but if you're in an advantage plan and your drug plans, you can't. So open enrollment goes from October 15th to December 7th. And it's a time that you can switch plans for January 1st. And the reason being is that Medicare and supplements, they're always the same. Plan N is Plan N is Plan N. But every year, these insurance companies, their plans change. So it's the time of year that, if you need to get out of the plan for January, you need to get out of the plan. Now, mindful, there are other ways to get out of the plans. There's different qualifying events. One being income for someone who has under $75,000. One who's under 100,000. So there are other times throughout the year besides from open enrollment, but this is the biggest time.
So would you say that if somebody has questions or wants to switch something, they should reach out no matter what and just see if it's possible?
Correct. Always tell my clients, not wait until this time of year when you've had a health crisis in the beginning of the year and we can find something about it. So
got it. Can these companies deny for pre-existing conditions?
In New York, no. So in New York, we're in a guaranteed issue state, especially as long as you've had insurance for the past 63 days. But going from one plan to another, absolutely not. Okay,
good. Is there anything? So talk to us about prescriptions for a bit. So that can be a big deal. Everybody remembers the donut hole when the Part D and all that came out, and the costs out of pocket. Is there any magic, any secret to trying to help lower prescription costs?
I mean, there's no magic or secrets. I mean, they changed the donut hole to mean that the client pays less, but there are ways to cap the cost, and it's all going to depend. The state has a pharmaceutical program called Epic. Some people are not familiar with it. I advise my clients of that. There's so many times when there could be something with the pharmaceutical company. There's ways to get a tier reduction for your medication. A lot of my clients, I advise them. And if something's a tier 4 expensive medication, it's an easy process and you can get it reduced to a different tier and it's locked in for a year. So, the drugs are the drugs, but there are some ways to take a look at it and try to reduce your cost.
Interesting. Okay. Now, when we meet with clients, we meet with folks who are younger. We talk about estate planning issues. We meet with folks that can be generally in the 65-year-old range, where we want to start talking about asset protection planning and implementing what we call an elder care protection plan, which is how do we protect the house in case long-term care is needed, in case Medicaid is needed down the road. So we're all about, at 65 and above, making sure people are starting to prepare for care and protect their assets. But as I'm seeing, I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, folks are working longer and longer. So what happens if somebody's 65 and they're still working? Is there any type of penalties, or they get A, they don't get B? What can they do, and what are the risks?
So if someone's still working and
Mhm.
they're working for a company that has at least 20 employees
Right.
or more, they don't need to enroll in B. They can stay in their group plan and there's no
Mhm.
penalty. Because once they stop working, that
Mhm.
gives them a special election period to pick up
Right.
Part B. So
Got it.
no penalties there, but yes, that's a big confusion for many people, but the company size has to be 20 or more. Because I've had some single individual people, dentists that have small group plans, they have to
Mhm.
go on Medicare.
Okay. Okay. Now, is there any penalties if you don't sign up for the drug plan, or as long as you
Yes.
have, I remember the phrase creditable coverage, as long as you've got something else in place, right?
Correct. So, and if you have a plan at work, then
Mhm.
that's fine. What I'll usually find is someone who enrolls and maybe enrolls in a supplement plan and
Mhm.
is not on any medications.
Right.
And so they say, why do I need a plan? And
Mhm.
there's a penalty, and it's 1% every month, but it's a lifetime penalty. So for someone who might not take, it might be a year, say they enroll in a $30 plan, they're
Right.
now spending $35 each and every year.
Hmm.
Sorry
Got it.
about that.
No,
Someone bumped me off.
I know. Sorry. So I get it. And I want to thank Doreen for being here. I know she's going through some things today. So she's sitting here doing this on her cell phone for us.
Yes,
So,
I
so
do apologize. I'm sitting in a waiting room in a hospital. And so Brian and I have planned this for so long. So I do apologize with the beautiful yellow backgrounds, but I hope you guys
yes,
can hear me
right.
and everything.
No, we're doing fine. We get you. I just
I
want,
have some,
sure, go ahead.
I just have a few questions for you, Brian, if you're done
Oh,
with me in terms
go,
of,
go right ahead.
can you hear me?
Yeah. 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 I hear you fine.
I know you talked about long-term planning and stuff. And I guess one
Right.
of the things that, I always like to ask you is documents and planning. And, I
Mhm.
work with a lot of older people that are 65 and,
Yeah.
healthcare proxies, power of attorneys, the wife
Right.
is, signs the signature. Like, how important is that to get that in place before you're in a hospital
Oh,
like I am right now?
oh goodness. Well, thanks for bringing that up, Doreen. Yeah, 100%. The reality is, and I share it with everybody I can, is that there's always basic planning documents everybody should have in place. A last will and testament, you need to have it. And quite honestly, we don't ever want you to use it because it requires probate, but you need to have a will just in case. Then, most important basic planning document is what's called a power of attorney. And it's not just any power of attorney, it has to be durable, it has to be modified, meaning that it has to be made more comprehensive than the standard state form. It has to be more comprehensive than what LegalZoom is going to give you. A power of attorney must be tailored to aging and asset protection and expanded to cover all those potential concerns. And then, of course, you have your healthcare proxy to have somebody name somebody to help you with healthcare decisions if you can't do it. And then ultimately, the last basic document everybody should have is what's called a living will. If you agree with it, you should have it. And it's a statement that says that if I'm in an irreversible medical condition, I do not wish to have any medical treatments that keep me alive artificially. In other words, if I'm going, just let me go. And that's a document it's always good to have those conversations with families so they know what your wishes are. But that living will can be used by the healthcare proxy agent to help make decisions if they're ever in that circumstance. So those four documents are for everybody. I mean, every adult over 18, regardless of age, regardless of health, should have those four documents. I've got two kids in college right now, and they have powers of attorney and healthcare proxies. Um, that's something that should be done. All right. So I appreciate you asking that, and that's for folks that are under 65. We talk about revocable trusts as people get older or have other complications. And then, of course, irrevocable trusts are the asset protection type, which we're not going to get into today, but that's the asset protection planning. I do have webinars on my website, again, Tully Elder Law, that talk about that. Or just get on our mailing list, because we do probably once a quarter, we're doing something on asset protection. But yeah,
Great.
crucial documents. If you're sitting with folks, have them lay those out for you, not for you to give an opinion, but just to say, do you have them? Do you want somebody to look at them, and so forth? Very important, very important. You always want to avoid the crisis. A crisis will always be more stressful. A crisis will always cost the family more money. A crisis will always limit your options. And what Doreen and I are talking about are, how can the family plan in advance? How can they be prepared for care down the road? Medicare and looking at Medicaid as a potential reality down the road are very, very crucial elements of preparing. All right. So Doreen, please give us a little information about yourself. How can somebody reach out to you before we get to questions? So we're going to get to some questions at the end of this. But phone number, email, how can people reach you if they want to talk to you directly?
Whatever makes sense. They can email me. I'm sure they can email me, they can call me, they can text me, they can go on my website. I have a Facebook page, all of the above.
What is the website? What's the phone number?
Phone number 631-235-8038.
235-8038. Is that what you said?
Correct.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. And the website is?
dmarinomedicare.com.
dmarinomedicare.com. Okay, great.
Yes.
So let's get to questions. And while I'm looking those up, I'll share on my part. If anybody's ever seen my webinars before, I'm always standing here in a jacket in my office, right? Not today. Unfortunately, on Saturday, I fell and I fractured my ankle and my fibula. So I'm sitting here in my office just for a couple hours today so we could do this webinar and get this information out to you, awaiting surgery on Friday. If you've seen me wincing or kind of moving around in my chair, that's why. All right, so we have a question here. Doreen, are there any other supplemental plans besides AARP?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
such as what else? I mean, of course they can talk to you about it.
Yeah, so there are other companies. If you're talking about in the New York market, it's all about price. So what people find is AARP because of their price, but the AARP and Empire Blue Cross Blue Shields are the two that have the same prices. But there are other companies. So with the supplement, when you're getting it, I tell people it's like buying a can of Coca-Cola. You buy it in two different stores, it's the same thing. So AARP and Empire currently have the same price. There are other companies, but why would you pay more for the same thing?
Got it. Good. Another question is, where are you located? So your office is here in Melville, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
She's
So
actually in the same building.
I'm here, I'm local. Yep.
It's 532 Broad Hollow, right in Melville. All right. And then we had something else pop up. Any other questions, please let us know. Question is, what is the S plan, as in Sam? Are you aware of an S plan?
S plan, no.
Yeah, neither have I. I mean, they end at what? L, M, or N? They end at N, I think.
Yeah, there's an M, there's an N. I mean, the two popular are N and G currently. No S's in Sam.
Right.
Out there.
Right. Okay. If there's something else, Beth, that you're thinking about, unless S referring to supplement. Another question is, can you switch from the Medicare Advantage, I would imagine, back to the traditional and a supplemental during the year, or do you have to stay with the Advantage through the year?
Well, we covered that. And so you generally have to only switch during open enrollment period, but based on certain circumstances, you can switch back. So for instance, and this is where I talk to my clients and understand. So I've had people in a situation where, they're in an Advantage, they have a medical situation. I've been able to switch them to a supplement based on income. So,
okay.
I could create a special circumstance, but it's not for everybody. And sometimes, like right now, ironically, because of the hurricanes, there's a special election period that's involved. So from August, September, and October, the Medicare creates a special election period. So I tell people, don't rely on that. with your health, but just note that, speak to someone and see if you need to get out, if you can get out.
Right. Even no matter what the month is.
Correct.
Just give Doreen a call. Right.
Correct.
Are there any major changes that you're aware of that are coming to Medicare or these other insurance policies that you know of?
There's not a lot of changes to Medicare. Medicare doesn't change as much as it's just the rates go up. We haven't gotten what the deductibles are. I'm finding with the plans going forward, I mean, they're trying to just offer more benefits. I know for 2022, we're seeing lower premiums. I'm thinking it's from, not a lot of people going and using the plans in 2020. So we're seeing the rates being lower.
Got it. Good. Somebody is asking, Jacqueline is asking, do you need to live in Suffolk to see you? And then somebody else asked, do you have to be geographically located to work with you?
No.
So people can be in Manhattan. They can be in Manhattan. They can be Nassau. They can be Queens.
Yeah, I work in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina. With the Zoom, it works out great. I go to people's houses, so everything can be done online, in person. I will come to you. Very accessible.
Great. Good. And also, if anybody here doesn't have Doreen's information, you can always reach out to us directly here at the law firm. What is the advantage of a Plan G, as in good? It's a high deductible plan. Is that what you're asking, Steve? Specifically Plan G. Is that the supplemental plan?
G or the high deductible G?
Oh, okay. So he's saying here, Plan G, high deductible.
So not a lot of companies have that plan, but what the high deductible plan does, it mirrors Plan G. And so they charge you a lower premium for that plan. And you're picking up the 20%, all of the out of pocket until you reach what G would have been. So, if you're not looking to prepay for your insurance, it works like that.
Understood. Understood. Is there a fee to see you?
No, absolutely no fee. And if it's, that, Brian, you can tell them I've worked with a lot of your clients.
We've sent
I'm
clients,
always going to tell you what's the right thing. If what you're in makes sense, stay in what you're doing.
Correct. And then I'm looking in the chat box. They're asking about fees again. And as you said before, you get paid by the insurance companies, not by the actual client or consumer. Another gentleman is saying, very happy with the supplemental other than the cost. Would you suggest staying in the same supplemental arrangement for the next year? I would imagine maybe they should just talk to you directly and see what the actual concerns are. Yeah. Okay. All right. So hopefully that helps, Gary. So everybody, thank you for joining us. That's the last of the questions. It was a pleasure having you, Doreen. I wish the best for you and for your mom. And that you get out of the hospital, both of you, get out of the hospital quick. And somebody else just says she's worked with you for years and they love you. Isn't that great?
Thank you.
All right. Any questions, please reach out to Doreen or myself. We were working on another webinar next week, but I've postponed that just because of surgery and recuperating and so forth. So please keep an eye out on our website and our email list. And thank you. And we'll be in touch soon with our next topics and our next webinars. Thanks again, Doreen.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.